Well, Mr Speaker, if there is a moment of truth about asset sales, it will be the three Labor candidates out on the road campaigning for leadership, because they can make one simple, effective promise: that they will borrow $5 to $7 billion from foreign bankers and buy the government shares back. They can buy them back. That is the true test of leadership. And I think that they will fail that test. I don't believe for a moment that David Parker believes what he said. What Labor is hoping is that National will complete the asset sales so that they don't have to go out and say, we will borrow $5 to $7 billion from foreign bankers to fulfil all the nutty promises our leaders are making out on the campaign trail. And, Mr Speaker, the fact that that's the issue today tells you Labor haven't had a new idea since 1994, when Mike Moore left the leadership. I've listened a little bit, as much as I can stand it, to their three leaders out there, and what it tells us from Labor is the cream of their crop is they're stale, completely unimaginative and utterly disconnected from economic reality. The worst bit of it is the complacency. The Labor Party believe that National's done such a good job of getting the economy back on its feet that they can now go on like a pea-crazed Santa Claus throwing lollies to the natives, because that's what their leadership candidates are doing. They clearly believe all the hard work's been done. They clearly believe that now we're going up the competitiveness ranking, now ahead of Australia, that now we can put our feet up as a country and go on a lolly scramble. Well, they're wrong. And what it shows is they do not understand what's happened in this economy in the last 6 or 7 years. They do not understand how hard normal working New Zealanders have had to try to adapt to a changing world, to change the way their households work, the way their workplaces work, the way their lives work, so that they can have more jobs and better incomes. Mr Speaker, the list of promises from the Labor candidates looks like some kind of leftover from their candidate selection in the seat of Sydenham in the mid-60s, except they've got some new words. So that's smart, regional, innovative, strategic planning partnerships, whatever that is, with local government. And it just goes on and on. The main feature of it is that they now believe they can legislate wealth and incomes in New Zealand. Cheap houses by legislation, cheap electricity by legislation, higher incomes by legislation. And the people in those audiences, I think, know that that's a hoax. They'd like to think that that could be the way it is. And they like to see these fresh-faced, young, keen Labor prospective leaders, Cunliffe and Robertson, they like to think that those young men aspire to just pass a law to make us all wealthier. But in the back of their minds, they're thinking, that chap Jones, he's better than I thought. That woman's weekly reader, he knows what happens in the real world, while the rest of them are reading the Fabian Society monographs, repeating leftovers from 1930 Communist Party in the UK. Mr Speaker, Shane Jones is the dark horse coming through. And I hope he does, because he's got a few ideas. Mr Speaker, the other striking thing about that contest is nothing is being said about social policy. The reforming Labor Party, the socially aware carers in the Labor Party, and their leadership contestants have nothing to say about health, education, welfare or justice. And the reason is because this government is doing such a good job of changing our social policy and the lives of disadvantaged New Zealanders for the better, that the Labor Party can't even bring themselves to criticise it. Even if they have no new ideas, even if they're still peddling 1960s policies, at least could their leadership contenders bother criticising national social policy?
Members, time has expired. Honourable Clayton
Mr. Speaker, that speech made Nick Smith almost look stable. Mr. Speaker, can I say this, that from the member, that Minister of Finance is the Minister